The colony of Eos 9 was peaceful. Simple. A place where people came to disappear. That's why Elias Kane chose it. He had no interest in war anymore. No taste for violence. Just a quiet life with his daughter, Lena. She loved the markets, bustling stalls, the scent of fresh fruit, the hum of old tech being resold for scraps. Kane walked a step behind, hands in his coat, scanning the crowd out of habit. Some instincts never faded. A neighbor, old man Grayson, nudged his shoulder. "You hear about the Black Dagger cartel?" Kane's jaw tightened. "No. Pirates, slavers, all of it. They're sniffing around. Looking for easy marks." He glanced at Lena. She was bargaining over some carved trinket, grinning up at the merchant. His world. His entire reason for living. "They won't be a problem," Kane said. And he meant it. Then he blinked, and Lena was gone. A cold spike of fear ran through him. Not the panic of a normal parent, but something sharper, something buried deep. His mind shifted gears. Assess, calculate, act. He spotted the overturned basket where she'd stood. A woman nearby, eyes wide. She pointed down the alley. Kane moved. Fast. The alley was empty. A hovering cargo skiff roared out onto the main road, disappearing into the sky. A blinking holocard lay in the dust. He picked it up. A message flickered to life. 100,000 credits. One cycle. Or the girl dies. His pulse never spiked. His breathing never changed. He stared at the message, then crushed the holocard in his fist. They had no idea what they'd just done. Kane didn't call the authorities. No patrols. No negotiations. He walked home in silence. Inside, past the dusty farm tools and ration packs, was a metal hatch. Sealed. Forgotten. He knelt, placed his palm against the lock. A soft chime, then a hiss of releasing pressure. The past stared back at him. Weapons. Armor. A blade he hadn't touched in 10 years. A comm unit blinked to life. He activated an old channel, a frequency no one used unless it was time to bury bodies. A gruff voice answered. "Hell. I thought you were dead. I need information," Kane said. "On the Black Dagger cartel." A pause. Then a low chuckle. "Guess they don't know who they pissed off." "They will." He shut off the comm and holstered his pistol. One cycle. That was the deadline. Not for him. For them. Kane moved with purpose. There was no hesitation, no wasted motion. He wasn't a farmer anymore. He was something older, something worse. The ship he took wasn't elegant. A stolen hauler, stripped down and ugly. It didn't need to be pretty, just fast. He flew low through dead zones, skimming under radar, heading straight for Car Hose 5. The city was a pit. Neon-lit, stinking of rust and oil, crime thick in the air. It was exactly the kind of place the Black Dagger cartel would fester. Kane stepped onto the streets, head low, coat heavy with hidden steel. He had no badge, no backup, just a promise carved into his bones. The first stop was an old contact. Relise ran a gambling den, illegal weapons, rigged fights, backroom deals. Kane walked in, and the room went quiet. Even after all these years, they remembered him. Relise frowned. "You shouldn't be here. Where's the cartel?" "I don't." Kane moved. Fast. A hand around Relice's throat, pressing him against the wall. The weight of it reminded him how easy this used to be. Relise gasped. "Warehouse District. North End." Kane let go. No threats, no warnings. If Relise had half a brain, he'd leave the planet tonight. Outside, the city pulsed with the desperate and the doomed. Kane slipped through the crowd like a shadow, checking gear, loading magazines. He had no plan for subtlety. They stole his daughter. That was already a declaration of war. 2 guards stood at the entrance to the warehouse. He walked past, then stopped. One of them squinted. "Hey!" The knife was in his throat before the sentence finished. The second man went for his weapon. Kane's gun barked once, clean, precise. Inside, the stink of sweat and gun oil. Voices. Laughter. At least a dozen men. He stepped forward. A few heads turned, slow recognition creeping in. Someone reached for a weapon. Kane's first shot split the air. Then everything burned. The fight was short, violent. Bodies fell, broken and twitching. Kane didn't stop moving, didn't hesitate. The ones who ran, he let them, so they could spread the message. In the back room, he found Lena. Hands bound, face streaked with tears. The moment she saw him, her breath hitched. "Dad?" He knelt, cut the restraints, pulled her into his arms. She sobbed. He didn't. He just held her, gaze fixed on the doorway. Because it wasn't over. Not yet. Lena clung to him, her small hands gripping his jacket like a lifeline. Kane held her close, scanning the room. Blood pooled on the floor, bodies still twitching. He could hear distant shouts, reinforcements. He moved fast, carrying her through the back exit. The alley was dark, damp, and full of rot. He set her down. "Hold on to me. Don't let go." She nodded, eyes wide. No questions. No panic. She was his daughter. They moved through the streets like ghosts, slipping between shadows. The city was waking up to the massacre. Syndicate men swarmed the district, barking orders, checking bodies. None of them knew where he was. None of them would live long enough to find out. A group blocked their path ahead, 3 enforcers with rifles, scanning the street. Kane crouched, whispering, "Close your eyes." Lena obeyed. 3 shots, muffled by the suppressor. 3 bodies crumpled. They kept moving. The spaceport was close. A stolen keycard got them into the docking bays. Malric's ship sat where he left it, old and ugly but fueled. Kane keyed in the launch sequence, checking his 6. A deep voice boomed through the hangar speakers. "Elias Kane." He turned. Varric Stull stood at the entrance, flanked by 6 men. The syndicate boss was thick with muscle, covered in tattoos marking his kills. He held a pistol, but he wasn't aiming it. He was smiling. "You know," Thull said. "I thought the stories were exaggerated." Kane didn't answer. "Butcher of Zenthus," Thull continued. "A one-man war. A living nightmare." He gestured to Lena. "Didn't think nightmares could love." Kane stepped forward. "You're going to die now." Thull laughed. "You could run. You have your girl. Take the win." Kane's gun snapped up. The shot punched through Thull's knee. The big man dropped with a howl. His men hesitated. That was their mistake. 2 shots, 2 kills. The rest dove for cover. Kane moved like a storm, precise, unrelenting. He didn't miss. He didn't stop. When the gunfire ended, only Thull remained, wheezing in a pool of his own blood. Kane crouched beside him. Thull coughed, grinning through red teeth. "You can't kill all of us." Kane leaned in. "Watch me." He pulled the trigger. The ship's engines roared. Kane strapped Lena in, set coordinates, and punched the throttle. The world below shrank into darkness. She clutched his sleeve. "Is it over?" He exhaled. "No." The stars stretched ahead, endless and cold. Lena slept, curled against his side, exhausted. Kane watched the control panel, fingers tapping absently. It wasn't over. Not yet. Malric's voice crackled over the calm. "You really did it." Words spreading fast. "Black Dagger's bleeding." "They're still breathing," Kane said. A pause. "You want them gone?" "Yes." Malric sighed. "Then you need to cut the head off. Their main fleets hold up on Xiphos Station. Big, nasty, well-armed." Kane didn't hesitate. "Send me the coordinates." Another pause. Then a quiet chuckle. "Knew you'd say that." He glanced at Lena. She deserved peace. A normal life. A father who wasn't a killer. But peace only lasted when threats were buried deep. Xiphos Station loomed ahead, a massive sprawl of ships and docking platforms. Kane moved fast, silent, slipping through security like a ghost. The Black Dagger officers weren't expecting war. That was their mistake. Explosions rocked the station as he cut through the halls. Close quarters, brutal. Men fell screaming, alarms blaring. He reached the control center, sealed the doors, and hacked the system. One command. One button. Overload reactor. A voice behind him. You're insane! Kane turned. The last lieutenant stood there, trembling. Kane didn't answer. He simply walked past. The man didn't try to stop him. Back at the ship, Lena stirred as the engines fired up. Dad? Hold on. The station exploded behind them, silent fire blooming in the void. The Black Dagger cartel was no more. Lena watched the wreckage fade. Now is it over? Kane looked at her. At her small, hopeful face. He nodded. Yeah. It's over. This time, it was the truth.